On the subject of Sebastian Vettel, he's now a four-time world champion.
Yeah.
Why do you think he's not more popular or more celebrated?
I don't understand that. He's a very charismatic young man as far as I'm concerned, just because of his skill. He's very modest. He's only 26 years of age, certainly the most mature 26-year-old Grand Prix driver I've ever seen. So he's had a sensational season and, of course, winning more races than anybody else in modern times, certainly currently. So if he wins down in Brazil, that'll make, I think, 9, is it? Back-to-back Grand Prix wins, which is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, astonishing stuff. Where do you think he rates amongst the greatest ever F1 drivers, or is it too early?
It's too early. I mean, when you put up names like Juan Manuel Fangio, when you put names up like Jim Clark or Jochen Rindt or Alan Prost or Niki Lauda, etc., you've just got to wait and see what the future holds, because he's got a car that's faster than anybody else's right now, a designer who's the most brilliant probably in the history of motorsports. So he's had a huge advantage, but at the same time he's driven it very well and he's handled it very well, but only time will tell whether he's an all-time great.
Is his and Red Bull's domination damaging the sport at all?
I don't think it did until about the last couple of races, and I think people are getting a little tired of the domination, which is a shame because he has driven remarkably well and the car has been extraordinarily fast. But it could happen. It's happened before. It happened in the Schumacher times, so therefore it's not impossible. I mean, the problem is that the live television audience are the audience sometimes that get bored. The people at the racetrack don't get bored.
Now, so Jackie, you're in New York for a new movie documenting you at your peak as a driver. It's on nationwide release in the States from Friday onwards. And part of it sees you discussing how much the sport's changed. What conclusions did you reach?
Well, Roman Polanski, of course, is a great filmmaker, and he made this film way back in 1971. I won the Monaco Grand Prix that year, and it was a year that I was doing a lot of television in America. It's called The Weekend of a Champion. My son Mark co-produced this version of it with Roman, and Roman's been a long-time friend of mine. I think he did a great job. It was sort of cinema verite. It was living with me, literally living with me, for an entire weekend at the Monaco Grand Prix. So I think it'll be very appealing to show the difference between what motor racing was in the early 70s and what it now is. The safety element comes into it a lot. It just shows, however, how primitive it was in those days versus what it is today. Having said that, Monaco is still the jewel in the crown of exciting motorsport, and this film shows that off very proudly. Princess Grace is there along with Prince Rainier and a whole lot of people like Ringo Starr and Joan Collins as a young lady in those days, and Roman, of course, and I 40 years ago. And in the movie, towards the end of the movies, there's Roman and I 40 years older sitting in the same suite of the Hotel de Paris talking about the difference between now and then.